Hey everyone, I'm Gary McLean. You're watching Talent Talk. Thanks for tuning in. This is a final reminder to submit your videos for the co host contest. If you're a viewer, a fan, previous guest, or just looking for something different to do, make sure you send in your 1 to 2 minute video link expressing why you think you'd be the ideal candidate to co host the season finale on December 12th. Contest ends next week, November 14th, with the winner being announced on November 28th. Please have a look at the pin post on the Facebook Talent. There we go. Talent Talk Facebook page, as well as the official Talent Talk website at talenttalkmedia.ca for more details. Also, a reminder for the folks watching that this is live and interactive, so please don't be afraid to pop in, say hi, ask questions, comments, whatever you're feeling, throw it in there, and we'll have a look at it. Now, for the reason everybody's always here, today's guest is an award-winning producer and director, as well as an actress who was recently nominated for a Leo Award for her work in A Score to Settle opposite Nicolas Cage. Her role was originally written for a man, but after a stellar audition, the part was rewritten for her. She began her career working on the TV series Edgemont Road for CBC, and she produced an award-winning film titled Black Chicks, produced with acclaimed writer, director, and showrunner Neil LaBute, where she earned a Leo Award nomination for her work as the lead actor in the film. She has a multitude of credits in acting, directing, live theater, and producing, so please join me in welcoming Nicole Leier. Morning,
Thank you for
Nicole.
the intro. Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Doing really good, really good. I'm just in New York, and some good news came through. So yeah, it's been a really lovely morning. Very exciting morning.
A good morning to wake up to, right? Like you said, with the
Yeah.
news, I meant. Yes.
Well, it's actually already 1 o'clock here. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, it's still morning time here, so. And I've been told I do the show way too early, so it's actors they don't
I
like
love
getting up
mornings.
early.
I'm a huge morning person. I love getting up in the morning. It's like my thing. So,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I'm good with mornings. Yeah.
And do you need that cup of coffee before you get started? And um,
I do. I get up and I've actually been drinking like tea, Earl Grey tea,
okay.
recently, which is kind of interesting, a little bit different. But I am definitely a morning cup of coffee kind of girl. Yeah.
Yep. Fair enough. Fair enough.
hmm
And yeah, so you mentioned you were in New York. What's the weather like there right now? Because it's dreary here.
It is beautiful. It is absolutely beautiful. So, fall in New York is my absolute favorite. It's just beautiful. The leaves are changing. I'm definitely going to go for a bike ride later on after this in Central Park. And I feel really honored to be here working and being able to enjoy my time here. But it's awesome. I love New York very much.
Nice. So how
And
long are
it's
you there
great
for right
weather.
now?
I'll be here for about 2 months working on a project. I'm doing some directing here. I can't say too much, but I'm really excited to be able to be here doing that. And it's great. So far, no rain, no snow. So far so good.
Nice.
Sure that will change soon.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it's that time of year, I suppose.
Yeah.
And where are you normally based?
So I live in Los Angeles, but I am directing a lot in Vancouver, Canada. And then last year, I actually spent about a year working here in New York. So I travel around. It's an interesting thing, like people are always like, where are you based? Where are you? And I tend to go where the work is. I haven't been back to Toronto, um, T dot in a long time. I'd love to get back there. I love Toronto. I love Montreal, um, and all those kinds of places. So hopefully there'll be some projects that will take me back that way sometime soon.
Right. And mistake me if I'm wrong, but you're originally from Calgary, right?
No, I'm actually originally from the Vancouver area.
Oh, you are. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, I thought I read somewhere that you were from Calgary.
I did
Um,
a music video a long time ago in Calgary, and I love it. But I haven't actually spent a lot of time out that way. But I did work a
okay.
little bit, very briefly.
Okay. And so since you're kind of based more or less out of Vancouver, I suppose, um, how did the whole like what drove you to acting and producing? And actually, what was first? I'm assuming acting,
Yeah.
but
I always say it's very like symbiotic. Definitely acting and directing, they go together. And I became a producer out of necessity. So I don't believe really in waiting around and waiting for the work to come to you. I believe if there's not work happening, that you have to make it happen for yourself. Producing is intense. It's so intense, and there's so much paperwork and so many things that go into it. I don't have a passion for producing, but I definitely believe in not waiting for the work. So I became a producer out of necessity. Acting came first for me. I've always been an actor. I love it very, very much. And I feel like my directing is an extension of that. Of the acting, and I feel like I have a great relationship with the actors, and I can connect with them because you speak their language and you can understand what they need when they need it. Or sometimes the better thing, and the thing that I'm really learning as a director, that they don't need. It's really great as a director actor to really just sit back and see, like, let that artist, that actor, do the thing that they need to do, and stay out of the way and just be there for them.
okay, all right. Um, and like I know you kind of said that they're kind of symbiotic, but and I'm assuming there must have been kind of a bit of a time period between from starting acting and then getting into the directing side.
Yeah.
What was that kind of time frame? And again, I'm
um
just yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. So recently, professionally, I've just started directing. So I had my whole career of acting, where I was acting all of the time, and working on that, and doing side projects where I would produce some short films, produce some theater, direct some of those projects, but not doing it professionally. And actually, just this year is when I finally got my multi-picture deal, where I'm going to be directing full time, and I'm in the union now, which is a huge, huge thing. I'm so honored. And so I guess the time frame was all of my life. So, like, I acted and I acted. I always knew that I wanted to direct. I knew that the day would come. And I wanted to do it on a grander scale. But yeah, my whole pretty much the time frame is my whole life. And just recently this year, I had the opportunity to start directing, which I'm very, very thankful for.
Right. And when it comes, well, I got a couple questions here.
Yeah.
What's your formal acting training? I guess like did you go to school for it, or what the case was there? And I'm also curious about the directing side of it. If you had any schooling on that side, or if it was just you just dived right into it and
Yeah.
learned
So
on the fly.
I have an obsession with, I love education. And I think that a lot of things can be solved and fixed if you have education. I do believe that education is the key. Unfortunately, with my upbringing, I didn't have the opportunity to go to school. I had to start working right away, and my career on Edgemont started when I was very young. So I did some programs. I took night classes, like, acting, scene study classes. Um, I still take classes. I work with Larry Moss in Los Angeles and New York. And I also work with an amazing acting coach. I still see him, even just saw him last week, Ben from Crash Acting. So I did those sorts of things for my acting, and still do, and will continue to do that. But I never had like a traditional formal training, like Yale, or you hear of these acting departments where you go for 4 years or something like that. And I wanted to. And I still sometimes fantasize about going back and doing like the history of film. But I've been fortunate enough to just be working. And I do believe it supports your acting career when you come up differently. There's been, like, situations where I've been in that I wouldn't have been able to play those roles. I think if I had a formal, very textbook kind of training, I think it's helpful. I think it helps. Um, with the directing, I am obsessed with watching movies and reading books. Right now, I'm actually listening. I have to share this if it's okay. The Stanley Kubrick audiobook about his driver. I don't know. It's amazing, but it's about this man started working for Stanley Kubrick and became his driver and his best friend, and all of the things that you hear. And it just blows my mind, some of the things. I don't know. One of the things was, if you watch The Shining, I believe it's a 3-hour film. 2 or 3 hour film. And for every hour we see on screen of that film for Stanley Kubrick, that was a full year of shooting. And so it's just like mind blowing, and you learn like directors are very similar. We have like this very similar obsessions about things. And recently, actually, just sorry, I'm going on about this
Oh
because
no,
I find it so
it's all good.
interesting. I actually contacted Los Angeles Film School, so I booked this contract deal for directing. I just finished Romance in Crystal Cove, directing my feature film. And I was like, I think I need more training as a director. And I contacted them, and the lady was so sweet to me. But she did kind of laugh. She's like, "You're kind of beyond this, but thank you so much for your interest in coming to film school. But I think that you're good." So I wanted to go, but I kind of got told to thank you, but no thank you, which I thought was really funny. I was like, okay, okay. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I'm definitely street trained, self taught. But I love it. I've always wanted to go to school, and I still might go back. You never know.
right. Well, maybe you can tell us a little bit about your first experience as a director, what that project was, and how that played out, and what your thoughts were, and how you've grown since that point.
Yeah. Yeah, so it just happened. We just finished post. The producers are actually doing their cut right now as we speak. And I found out that I dream really big. It happened very quickly. The production company took a big chance on me. I applied for the job. I prepared a lookbook for them and a movement inspiration, and I broke down how I saw the script. It's very Hallmark romance kind of script, and I personally I love watching those movies as well. So it's like, there's something about watching a movie and knowing that nothing bad is going to happen and everything's going to be okay at the end of the movie. There's something really nice about that. Um, and so I just pitched them, and I didn't think I was going to get the job, but I did. And the large producer at the production company said, "No, we're just gonna give you a shot and see what happens. You seem very passionate about it." And I flew up the next week, and we started prep. We had 2 weeks of prep, which is very short, and 12 days to film, which is also very, very short. And it was the best and the worst experience of my life, because you have now a producer that you answer to, that you have to create a product that has to sell, and you're responsible for $1 million or more of this film, and your responsibility is quality control and to deliver that product. um, it changed my acting, like my understanding of what we do as actors, and my respect for the producers and directors. I always had that, but now it's through the roof. If you're an actor, do not never be late. Always know your lines, and know your lines word for word. Um, it it's very interesting. It's so interesting. The camera angles and the lenses. I worked in New York directing for another company called, it's very funny, that company that I just finished the feature film for is called Real One. And I also worked for another company called Real Arc, directing. And I'm very grateful to them for helping me learn lenses and those sorts of things. But I had a great DP that helped me with that. And now I'm learning more about my lenses, which is very important as a director. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for the quality control. I'm told they love the film so far. So we'll see. That'll be coming out in 2021. So Romance at Crystal Cove. Check that out.
Okay.
I'll be sharing. Yeah. Um, it was so much. There's so many. Every day is different, and every day is problem solving with people. Um, it's amazing. I really love it. I really love it. Yeah.
Right. And so when you do start sharing that information, can I assume it's going to be on like your Twitter and your Instagram?
Absolutely. Yeah. And you have my contact. You can also contact me as well.
Yeah, I'd definitely be curious. But for the folks watching, if you want to check that out, just keep updated on Nicole's Instagram and Twitter, which is now down below,
Thank you.
and have a look there. No, that's so. I guess now that you've kind of had this one under your belt a little bit, Um, do you already have a plan for a follow up, or?
Yeah, so I believe the next one that I'm on the slate for. Um, so they've signed a contract for me for directing for 18 months. So I'll
Okay.
be the director in rotation that will keep coming back. And I believe my next film is either a thriller or a Christmas movie. So
Quite the
two
contrast
very
there.
different things. I'm really excited to do a thriller and like get into that like suspense. And I'm also a Christmas freak. so
Hence the
so
hallmark.
I'll be I'll be happy no matter what. And I think I get to do one of each. Like I think I'll get to go through the motions. I'm just not sure which one's going to be next.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
so different those two.
Y- Absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think you've also been involved in a couple projects where you've worn multiple hats, right?
Yes.
Where you're the actor, you're the director, you're producer. Um, how do you find that? Wearing so many hats, do you find one gets a little bit neglected?
You can't. You can't do that in film because if you neglect one of the hats or you neglect something on in a film or on a project, what happens is it shows up on screen, and it will affect your project. What you have to do, I believe, is surround yourself with people who care and are just obsessive about making good film and about telling stories as you are. You do have to delegate. And so when you wear a lot of hats, you just have to make sure that you have a lot of really great people around you that are able to watch your back and also point things out to you. Sometimes you need people that will challenge you. Helping doesn't always come in a way that's okay, everything, you don't want people that will just do what you say. You want them to challenge you and to make the push the project forward and to make sure that the story, you're always honoring the story, right? At the end of the day, our job as artists in this industry is to tell stories that I believe in some way, shape, or form will make the world a better place. And yes, I do believe even in Christmas stories and romances it does, because you might be helping someone have a better day. So it's just about making sure that each one of those hats has the support um, of the different departments around you. Um, what project? My very, very first project, where I co-directed and produced Henry's Glasses. It did very well, many Leo Awards and many different festivals around the world. That one was a little bit hard in producing. I was really learning, budgeting and what it meant to, we went way over budget. Um, and then about learning when to ask as an independent filmmaker for help, and for people to volunteer. We got really lucky. I ended up getting a helicopter shot for free, which later I think somebody at that company got in trouble because I was like, da da da, I made it happen. And so you learn along the way that there's a right way to do things. And so I definitely learned on that one. I think that's the one that was a little, I wouldn't use the word neglected. I just learned how to go about things, to make sure the outcome is always positive for everybody.
Right,
Yeah.
right. Well, and just to go back to one of your earlier points there, surrounding yourself with good people. It is a team effort, regardless how you look at it. So yeah, I completely agree with that. That um, if you've got a good cast and crew around you, you can put out a magnificent project.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's been my experience as well. So um, yeah, I think that's key.
Yeah,
Having that
absolutely.
good people around you. You're only as good as the people you surround yourself with, right? Isn't that the
this
phrase?
this is
Yeah,
true. This is true.
yeah. Um, I would like to, if you don't mind, touch a little bit about A Score to Settle.
Yeah.
I definitely have a couple questions about that. So for the folks watching, that this is a Nicolas Cage film, right? And there's a couple aspects I'd like to chat about. We also have a little clip that I'll share with folks as well. Um, but my curiosity is more about the audition process, and how you actually kind of tilted the scales in your favor when it was actually meant for a man. I'm kind of curious how that went, and That must have been a huge proud moment for you, I would think.
I mean, I want to say yes, but I don't remember feeling that like right in the moment, like proud. But I do remember feeling like like I was like, oh, they're gonna do this. Like the industry is moving in the right direction, and they're making changes for um, the right reason. So I was really proud of the producers and very proud of the director. This is not a small thing for them to do that. The audition process was very interesting. I actually found the audition online on Breakdown Services. I don't have an agent yet of any. Like I just don't. I've just been doing a lot of these things on my own, and it's been, oh my goodness, what is this? It's been going really well for me. So I just have, I don't have an agent for directing. I don't have an agent for acting, and that's been my choice for a long time. And so I just found it, and I wrote the casting director. I said, I see that this is written for a man. Would you mind if I audition? And she gently and very professionally, I love these casting directors, Barbara and Deb. They're like, Nicole, it's written for a man. Did you see that? Just so you know, do you really want to audition? I was like, oh yes. Can I just put it on tape for you? Can you just just check it out, and let me know what you think of the tape. So we did that, and then I got a message back from Barbara and Deb, and they're like, would you mind coming in and just doing that in the room for us? We thought you did a really great job. Oh, that's right. And they actually had me audition for the female part. There was another character, but I really wanted this part. I just really connected to it. And so I went in and did the audition again in the room, and they're like, And then invited back to the director producer session, but also just gently reminded very professionally, like, Nicole, this is written for a man, but your work is lovely. We just like to show your work. And I'm like, yeah, I totally understand. So I really wasn't expecting anything to come from it. It was just a story that I really wanted to tell and wanted to share. And so I went into the room. The character smokes. I was like, just reminded not to light the cigarette in the audition. We had a really nice chat. And at the end of the audition, they said thank you, and I left. And Barbara came, and she's like, "Are you available next week? They want to give you the part." And I just remember looking back and seeing like there was still 4 or 5 other people, gentlemen, waiting to go in, and I was very proud. I was like, "Thank you so much," and of course, I am available to come back. Um, so I think for me, what that story says is if when the part is for you, when it's really for you, it's for you, and a lot of people are like, oh, but you can change it. You can no, like it's like each part I think has an actor and an artist that it's meant for. And I think that part was just meant for me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think that's fair. And yeah, I mean, on that note, I think that's a good segue to actually pop into that little clip that we have,
Oh, yeah.
if you don't mind.
No, I
And
don't mind at all. People are always so shocked because they meet me and I'm so bubbly and girly, and then they're like, "What?" So I won't
right,
say anything. I'll let everyone watch it, and then they'll see why I'm going to be working on thrillers.
yeah, no, absolutely. Let's share that with folks, and they can see the contrast. All right. Oh, helps if I actually hit the play button.
Got some mad recoil,
I'll take it. And a suppressor if you've got one.
I do.
And a 9mm, something Italian. Who's this?
That's my little man, Isaiah.
Guess everything comes full circle.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I give him something? I made these myself. But my son's too old to play with them. So maybe someday he'll play.
So you getting back in the racket again? That's why you're back in town?
Just dropping in on some old friends.
little bit of a contrast.
Yeah, I'm surprised you showed that clip. Have you seen the other clip before that?
There was it when you were on the couch?
Yeah.
Yes, I did see that one, and I was kind of debating which one to show. I was like, okay,
Yeah. The other one's
but you know,
it's very intense. Like people are so shocked when I first meet him, just because it's very very intense. But it was amazing working with Nicolas Cage. He's so talented. He's method. It was amazing experience. I'm very grateful for that.
okay, yeah. Well, that's going to be one of my next questions. How was it working with Nicolas Cage? So
yeah, he is such a workaholic. He's one of the, I can't remember the exact quotes, but he pumps out so many films. So for instance, when we were shooting this, he was actually doing a 3-picture deal. And so in between, like on lunch and stuff, he's preparing, and he shoots them back to back. It's not like he'll get a contract like that and he'll do one and then wait and the other. It's like literally the films overlap. So it was incredible watching him work, and he loves what he does. I have a lot of respect for him, and I got the good job kid at the end of the scene. So I was pretty grateful for that. It's pretty cool to work with somebody at that level in their career, and to know that you can meet them. And this is the reason I'm at the other scene. When he walks in, I really have to challenge him and I have to intimidate him. And we all know Nicolas Cage is very tall. I'm 5 feet. So for me to have to intimidate somebody of that caliber was really interesting experience. And it was, I think, one of the best moments on set for me was shooting that movie, Escortes at All. I was very grateful. Yeah.
right. And and that's the other thing. Like, this wasn't just a 1 or 2 line type role. Like, this was a beefy role.
That was a lot.
Yeah,
A lot.
and like we've already kind of seen, it was a bit of a contrast to your personality. And so, just out of curiosity, like when we discussed the audition process and everything else, where did you go to get there, to get to this character? What were your kind of thought processes on that?
Yeah, so it's really funny because a lot of people like look at Nicole and they're like, "Oh, she's bubbly, she's sweet," and I am, but I think that we all have aspects of everything. And when I was growing up, I was definitely around a lot of really hard people, and so the reason that I was connected to this is because I know what it's like to have to hold your own in different situations. And so it's really interesting, but the part wasn't really a far stretch. I was able to go there, and then I worked with a lovely coach. I always work with on these bigger parts of coach. Everyone does, and I worked with a lovely lady, Iris Quinn from Vancouver, and we just went over different things. What is intimidating? Like, what is the energy? And it was a dark place. It was a heavy place. But we all have that in us, and we all have happy moments and things we can pull from. And it was really just being method and knowing that he was coming into my house. And so it was method for me, really just staying in the ownership of like owning that place.
Okay. I did find that clip as well. If you want to, I can share that one as well.
Yeah, look, I think we should. I think people will be very entertained by watching this.
All right, let's get that ready then. Just take me a second to set that up. Oop. There we go.
Take it easy. I'm just here to do some business with Sleepy.
Sleepy's been dead for 6 years.
Doesn't change what I'm bringing to the table. You're in charge, man.
You ask them. They don't get a dick. The world's changed since your day, old man. So, you used to do business with Sleepy.
How'd he die?
Old bastard smoked all the time. Even burned me when I was a baby. Accidentally.
Shit, you're Sleepy's kid? You're always running around here, getting into things.
Fuck it. Let's get you a gun, yeah?
And that is the correct one, right? That's the one you were discussing. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Just
the
making
one.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like they were both great clips in my opinion. I
Thank
enjoyed
you.
both of those. Yeah, and yeah. So just out of curiosity, how long was the actual shoot that you recall, or that you were on set at least?
Yeah, I was actually only there for a day or 2 days. But I had to go up to the location. They actually shot all the way up in Kelowna, Canada. So I was up there for about a week. So you have like costumes and those kinds of things. I think it was 5 days altogether that I was up on location, but just shot for one day. So we shot all the scenes in one day.
Okay.
Yeah.
And just, do you happen to know where folks can watch that right now? That film?
Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
It is.
Amazon. It's on Amazon.
Okay.
Yeah. I
Would you
know
happen
it's
to? Well, when I hear Amazon Prime, I'm like, okay, is it Amazon Prime US only? And the
no,
reason I'm
it's in Canada because everyone in Canada has been watching it.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
You can
cool.
get it in
Yeah,
Canada. Yeah.
awesome. No, that's good to hear. We are about halfway through, surprisingly, and I just wanted to throw out the reminder, the folks that are watching right now, that you can comment, ask questions if you have anything. Just like to throw that reminder about halfway through, and we'll mention it again just before the end of the show. So yeah, feel free to chime in. On that note, there was another question I was going to ask you about Black Chicks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was another one. It was kind of in the introduction there as well. Can you tell us a little bit about this project? Because you were producer on that, but you were also actor as well.
Hmm.
Yeah, if you can just tell us a little bit about that film and that project.
Yeah, that project means so much to me. Um, the writer, Mr. Neil Labute, is one of my all-time favorite writers. As many actors love working on his stuff, and I feel like when you finish reading or working in a Neil Labute piece, or even seeing it, you just go, you have to think. It's never, because he never really tells people how to feel. He kind of just in his writing and work presents the information, and then he really holds a mirror to us. So with Black Chicks, I was working on it in Los Angeles at the James Franco studio, Studio 4, and I was in the middle of putting it up. And then I had to head back to Vancouver. I have a camera rental company, so we were working on some other stuff. And lo and behold, the showrunner happens to be Neil Labute. It was Van Helsing. And I was just like, wow, okay, interesting. And I ended up pitching him on the idea of doing this film, not knowing whether he had time, and Neil Labute is a huge name. I mean, and he's worked actually with Nicolas Cage a lot as well, which was another interesting connection. And that was before this. And he ended up emailing back, sure, just one email, sure. And I was like, oh, okay. And we got the script together and we cast the lovely actor, David Cubitt, who's a lovely, lovely Canadian actor as well. We rehearsed for 1 week. I was pretty much ready there. And it's a 12-page play that we adapted into a short film. David was amazing. He learned all of those lines in 5 days. We found a location. We brought out my cameras. We're very lucky. I had my own cameras. So we were able to pull together some friends and some gear. And then we had the amazing cinematographer, Brennan Yugiyama, who shoots Child's Play. He shot the Romeo section, Van Helsing, as well as Riverdale. And so between the three of us, we were able to just kind of pull it together. The easiest shoot I've ever produced in my entire life, working with Neil and Brendan. It literally, maybe there's other things that they didn't tell me that were like, had to go on in the producing team that I didn't know about, that were a lot more work. But honestly, it felt like we were just like a bunch of friends. I worked with David. We had a couple rehearsals reading with Neil to make sure that the acting was where Neil wanted it to be. And we actually shot it very quickly. It was a 1-day shoot, but really like a half-day shoot. I think we started at around 8, and I think we were finished around 2. And we shot it in one take. So we were doing like long takes. And it was really great to see that. I loved it. So we shot very much like shooting a play. And actually, we just got some new information. I believe Black Chicks is going to be out. I can't say too much, but I do know that there's some things happening. You can check out Neil LaBute's site, Contemptible Films. I actually have Black Chicks as well on my Instagram if anybody would like to see it. The easiest shoot. I still think that Neil and Brendan didn't, because I had so much to do with the acting. I still think that they must have just kept a lot of the producing side of Black Chicks away from me because it just really was so easy.
Well, that's all right
Yeah.
though. Yeah. Those
Yeah.
are the fun ones, right?
Yeah. It's just like, yeah.
So you said that they can actually watch the film through Instagram.
Yeah.
Like,
If you
you
go
have a
to
link
my,
on Instagram.
if you go to my Instagram IGTV, the film's right there, and you can just watch it whenever you like. Comment,
Awesome.
enjoy. One of the interesting things that we did do with Black Chicks is it's actually in, should I say that? It's too late. It's in black and white. And I thought that was such an interesting choice that the cinematographer made. And I think it really complements the story. Yeah, I really love that. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'll definitely check that out. And for the folks watching, go check out Black Chicks through Nicole's Instagram, which is now scrolling across the bottom. So no
Thank you
excuses.
so much. No excuses.
What was I going to say about that? Oh, actually, this is kind of an offside, but
That's okay.
just out of curiosity, do you have and again, this is kind of two-part. Do you have, I don't like using the term idol, but do you have a certain actor, actress that you've always kind of looked up to and somebody you really like to work with, that kind of scenario, and same with the directing side?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Meryl Streep, all the way. It's just always been her. And I think she does so many different roles. And she's just, and I know that a lot of actresses and actors and people who work in film and television would say that. But I admire her so much. Um, and it's always been on my list. You have that list of people who you really want to work with, and you want to like see how they do things. And honestly, I don't know what would happen like being on set. You hear
Just so you know, it looks like we've lost some of your audio here.
I just so sorry.
No
There
problem.
was a phone call. So sorry about that.
Oh, no worries.
But you have this list of people your whole life as an artist that you want to work with, and she's always been the top. For directors, I have so many. Ava DuVernay, and I have her. She like
That's
inspires
awesome.
me, and I just keep this around because I think like especially when you're a new director, I always say like, what would Ava do? Like if there's a really hard moment. And I actually keep this like on my monitors when I'm directing, just to remind me that there's like a certain caliber of professionalism and work and to strive for something. And then of course Spike Lee. Um, there's so many people, but definitely for directing, my top 2, Meryl Streep and Ava DuVernay. Yeah.
Okay, well that's fair.
Yeah. So sorry. Kona, my little munchkin dog.
She's like, I've got some comments I want to make.
Yeah.
And has the dog been in any of your films?
No, she is so. She's very bad behaved. When she comes to set, I don't know. She has a little Instagram. I'll send it to you after just for kicks. But she's very cute. Kona, come say hi. Kona, where is she? She looks like a teddy bear, and when she goes to set, they will actually give her a trailer, And the Teamsters are so sweet. They actually will like turn on the heat early for her. People bring her snacks. When I was shooting, we were shooting in New York last year. They actually set up an entire dressing room for her on Katie Keene. And she had her own PA that their job was to take her for walks. And I had to come to, and I had to say like no more treats from Crafty. They were literally like bringing like plates of cheese and meat for the dog. I was just like, ugh. This time I was flying for work and I was in the front of the plane, which is very comfortable. I don't always get to do that, but perks of work. And she does fly with me quite often, but they bring a pillow for her, and they will bring in the front, they'll bring like pieces of chicken for her before they've offered me anything. And I'm like, can I, and a bottle of water, I'm like, can I have a bottle of water? So she's very spoiled. No, she will not need any of that.
Just a little diva with her own trailer, and
Yeah, she had, I don't know what happened there. It's probably my fault. It's definitely my fault.
right. Well, I mean, with that kind of attention, I thought she'd be like the star of her own show by now.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's always dog movies out there, right?
There's always dog movies out there. I mean, I love her. I'm definitely the crazy dog mom. It's so nice to be able to travel with a pet and have them with you all of the time and just have that comfort. It's like a sense of home, especially when you're moving around to different locations all the time. So it's really nice that she comes everywhere. This is her third time in New York. And of course we live in LA, and then she comes up to Vancouver when I'm on location as well. So
Right.
yeah. Anyways, did you want me to get her for that? You can interview her.
Why not, right? Just get her.
Yeah, you want to see Kona? Here, I'll grab her. Let's see. Kona! Baby, you want a treat? Come here. Good girl. Come say hi. They want to say hi. This is Kona.
Oh, there we go.
Hey, you want to say hi? Yeah, she's
So
very
Kona,
spoiled.
what's your thoughts on all this travel?
She says the food is good.
Yes, you eat better than I do.
Yeah, she's little munchkin dog.
And speaking of the travel, I mean, the way things are right now with COVID, that must be a challenge to begin with, let alone with a pet, I would guess. Or is it not too bad?
I mean, it's definitely, you have to be safe. You have to follow the rules. So the rules in New York now are you have to quarantine for 3 days, and then you have to get a COVID test to make sure that you're negative. I think we all have such a responsibility with COVID to make sure that we're squashing this thing. You know, London this week just went again into full lockdown for a month, and it's just a moral responsibility to wear our masks and to make sure that we're being really, really safe. I'm a little bit extra with it. I actually wear a mask, and then I wear a shield as well over top. Why not just be a little bit, I just want to make sure I'm safe. And you never want to be the person who's responsible for anything. So traveling has been interesting. Traveling to Canada, it's amazing what Canada is doing. I'm so proud of them, and I think a lot more places should do that. So when you go into Canada, you actually have to give the information of where you're staying, 14-day quarantine, and if you break quarantine, it's jail time or over $1 million of a fine. So they're not messing around, and they check on you. You have to have, groceries set up to come in. So I was really proud of Canada for doing that, and that's why their numbers are going down. Coming into the States, nothing. Nothing. Coming into New York, the National Guard was here. And that was really intense. So you get off the plane, you're met by the National Guard. There's paperwork that you have to fill out. You have to let them know where you're doing your quarantine. And then I believe when you finish the test, I don't know, I think it's confidential, but you do have to have the test. Like, you have to have proof that on day 3 you took that test. And I love Gov Kumo out here in New York. He's a really cool cat. And I'm pretty proud of him. And I hope the numbers here in New York are starting to go down. But safety is really important for sure with this thing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when it comes to actually working on set and some of the procedures that have been put in place there, are you finding what I'm finding here locally is there's, I mean, major sets is one thing, but just in general, there's quite the inconsistency of, you know, the different procedures and processes. And I'm wondering if you're finding kind of the same thing, or if it's fairly consistent wherever you go.
For me, it's been very consistent, and actually, I feel really safe on set. So when we were shooting Romance at Crystal Cove, there was a lovely team, a safety team, a COVID safety team. My producers, Costa and Jill, we followed all the protocols. Every morning, you have a temperature check. They let you know if you're standing too close to somebody. And then there's kind of these zones, you know, like the zone A, B, and C, and only certain people are allowed in the zones. And I think I was concerned as a director. I was like, is this going to slow us down? Like, are we going to be able to get all of our shots? And that's, of course, besides the point, safety always first, but it really didn't slow us down at all. If anything, having the safety team there, I think it helped. The set's cleaner, everything gets sanitized. You know, working on set is kind of like working in construction or camping. I always feel like you're camping when you're working on set. And here, same thing. We have a zone A, B, and C at the studio. The director and the actors, and I think the cinematographer are zone A, so only those people are allowed in there. And then zone C, all those people. So it's been really consistent, and I've been really proud with the film industry and for us to be able to get back to work. It's been okay. It's been good, I think. From my experience, has been very good.
Okay, well, that's definitely good to hear. Yeah. So you've worked out of LA, you've worked out of New York, and I had a guest on a couple weeks ago that does most of his work out of the Atlanta, Georgia area.
Nice.
And I was just wondering if you've had an opportunity to work in that market a little bit, or not yet.
I've auditioned so many times for Tyler Perry, and then there's that really new that sexy show called P-Valley.
Okay.
You heard about this?
I haven't actually.
It's about all of these strippers that work at this strip club, and I did this huge audition where I did this thing, and I love the writer of it. And so I didn't get the part, but I love that story, and they shoot in Atlanta. I just have this feeling like I'm going to be directing out in Atlanta, and I'd love to go there. And then Tyler Perry's studio is insane. Like, they have like a full White House set up. I don't know if you ever get the chance to go on YouTube and check out what's going on at the Tyler Perry studios. It's amazing what he has set up. So I definitely would love to go work there at some point. I really want to shoot some music videos out there too, like just some like big old car hip hop, hardcore, big dance kind of battle music videos. I love that stuff. I love that stuff.
So do you do music as well yourself, or like, are you a musician or singer? Or?
I'm an awful singer.
You and I both. How about that?
However, I work with a lovely voice coach, and I have been seeing him now for 2 years. I have no idea why he allows me to come to my lessons every week. And I feel like it just helps, you know, like whether you're good or not, working and exercising your voice is really like meditation. So I work on it. I take my class every week, my voice class, and it's like Stanley Kubrick said, right? Stanley Kubrick believed that your voice was your most important thing as an actor, and I agree with him. I don't know if it's the most important, but I definitely believe it's a huge part of our instrument. So I take those voice classes. They did get me to sing last year at the Christmas concert. You can also see that in my Instagram story. I don't know if I'm going to be singing in public again for a long time.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just, it's so funny because of my look. I end up auditioning a lot for parts that sing. For instance, they have Daniela Brooks is doing this new Mahalia Jackson story. And so I auditioned to be one of the parts in that. The director was so nice. I got a really nice note just saying, "Not this time," which is a part of it. You have to just enjoy the process. But yeah, I get auditions for singing a lot, which is, and they're always like, I do them. I'll go in, and they're like, would you mind lip syncing this time?" Just like, I look like I should be able to sing, and I love it, and I like feel it. I've always wanted to be a singer, but I just practice. I'm just enjoying my singing lessons.
Yeah, I keep it to my car. That's
Yeah.
as far as I go. Yeah. By myself. There's
Yeah,
nobody listening. Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
smart. I should start doing that.
Yeah, I figure it's less embarrassing for me that way. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so on that regard, I can I safely assume that you don't play any musical instruments then either? Or?
Well, I know a little bit of guitar, and I would say no, but I do tinker around. I can figure out songs on the piano. I really do love music. I love it so much, and I hope that John's able to. He says it's just time. He's like, keep practicing. So, who knows? We'll see. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And you're young enough. You can you'll get it figured.
We'll see. We'll see.
Um, we're kind of getting into the last 10 minutes here. So I just want to throw that reminder out again for the folks that are still watching, or new folks that maybe popped in. That yeah, feel free to ask questions, comments, whatever you like. It's been kind of a quiet episode today, which yeah, we get those. But yeah, feel free to comment. And I'm kind of curious if you know what you have on the horizon in any
Yeah.
aspect. It doesn't even have to be film related, just in general. What's on the horizon for Nicole?
Yeah. So I'm here directing some lovely stuff in New York, which I'm very excited about. And I actually applied to this lovely company who shoots in Paris and London. So it'll be a lot more directing stuff coming up. And then I have the next film. We'll find out which one it is really shortly. The Thriller Other Christmas movie, which I'll be directing. And that'll be in Canada,
Okay.
which is really exciting about that. Um, and I have been writing. I actually have 3 scripts. One script I just finished, so I'll be pitching those. Because I think there's something about being able to write your script and then direct your script. And I think I'm going to probably start putting myself in my films a little bit more. Not the lead right off, but I always have that love of like, directing and acting and working both sides of it. And I think it's time for that to start happening. So we'll be working on that for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I know I've written a few shorts myself, but my main purpose of writing those shorts was to make sure I was in it. So
Yeah.
that's my main goal.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But
And
you have to do it, right?
for sure, yeah. And it's fun to do, and that's when you get those crews together and you work with different people, and yeah, in general, good experience. That so yeah, that's great for what you've got on the future. Sorry, this is kind of an off question, but is your family also in Canada, like parents and such, or?
I actually don't know my family.
Oh,
I haven't
okay.
really kept in touch with them. I left when I was really, really young, like very, very young. And I've been on my own for quite a while. So I'm not sure about their whereabouts. I do know that my biological father is from Tanzania, Africa. Unfortunately, I've never met him, but I do want to go see Tanzania, Africa one day. But I've never met him. But I think that all of these experiences make us who we are, and I think that everything always happens for a reason. Um, and my upbringing is definitely something that made me stronger, and it made me who I am, and I'm so grateful for my experiences, although some of them were definitely challenging. And I think we all go through stuff, and it doesn't matter. Lots of different things happen to lots of different people, and not always good things, but I think what does matter is what you do with that. Because you can give up, and you can do nothing and you can pout about it and complain about it, or you can say, okay, these are the cards that were dealt with me. Now what can I do with them, and what can I build from what I have? So I'm a really huge believer on doing the best you can with what you have.
Yeah, no, and I've kind of lived by the same belief as well. So yeah, I understand that. Yeah, like you said, I mean, we all have something in our history, right? That either made us who we are, more or less.
Yeah.
So yeah, like you said, it's just a matter of how you take that, and I think the ones for yourself, as an example, and myself, I think if we can take those experiences and not necessarily harbor them or hold on to them, but have them create or instill a certain strength in ourselves. That's how we can move on and actually become better people in a way, I think.
Yep. Use them to build. Use your experiences to build something that you feel good about. It's like taking something, that maybe like taking something old and making it new, the same sort of thing. Life is hard. Life is rough. It's not easy. And I think that it is something that, sorry, Kona is like barking away, but I think that it's just important what we do with it, because we're not here for a long time, and we want to make the world a better place in whatever way we can. So I agree with you. That's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Kona wasn't done with the interview.
Yeah, she wants back.
No, that's very interesting. Sorry, I didn't actually realize you didn't know your parents. I didn't read that part. Oh.
No. Yeah, no, it's okay. And lots of people are just very curious about that, and I think that it's great. I used to share a lot more about my upbringing, and then sometimes when I would go back, I didn't always, it's not me anymore. That was definitely where I came from. That's definitely the experience that I had. But I have to move on from it. You got to do what you got to do. And yeah, it's okay.
Nice transition, by the way. It's nice to see what the weather's like out there. That's great.
It's like the barking is getting to be a bit much.
It does look lovely out there, I gotta say.
Yeah. You can't really see much where we're at here. There's just like a bunch of New York buildings, but the New York is celebrating right now with there's just like drinking champagne in the streets. It's actually really wild, just with the Joe Biden win. So it's pretty fabulous day that really, for me, instilled a lot of hope in humanity. And I'm looking forward to some really great changes. I think we did something really great.
Yeah. Well, we at least got 4 years to see how that turns out anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the historical significance of Kamala, honestly. Like, I think that's amazing all
to
on
be
its
able
own,
to
really.
see somebody like myself, and all the little girls and all the people all over the world, and just to say, what, we don't stand for hate and racism, and there's so many feelings. I was actually, right before the interview, I just went down to everyone was in the street, and I was just crying. It's been really interesting, especially for the females. It's just, there's hope. There's hope in humanity, and I think the right thing happened today.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I know the right thing happened.
On that note, we're pretty much out of time. So I would definitely like to thank you for joining us today. I appreciate you taking the time out to sit down and chat with us. And for the folks watching, thank you for joining in and watching the show. You've basically got to the end of my end spiel to throw in any comments, questions, if you have any.
I think everyone's celebrating right now. Did we have anybody pop in? I don't know if we did.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, not sure. Oh, we got one comment just saying thank you for sharing your experience. So that's one.
Oh, thank you so much for having me too. You are a lovely interviewer. I really appreciate today. Thank you.
Oh, well, thank you for that. And yes, so for the folks watching, if you want to watch it again, or if you know somebody who might want to watch it, it will still be available on both Facebook and YouTube. I'll be sharing the links probably either today or tomorrow for the folks that did miss out. But yeah, share the world or share the word. Let folks know about Talent Talk, and we'll get more people watching. And I'll just throw it out there that next week's guest, quite excited to chat with this gentleman, David Loraney. He's local to Calgary, who does dialect coaching. He's a fantastic actor, both in theater and film. So I'm super looking forward to chatting with that guy. And so join us next week for that. And just because it is the final warning for the folks that I did mention this at the beginning of the show, make sure you get your videos in if you want to be a potential candidate for a co-host for the season finale, which is December 12th. You can check out details on Talent Talk Facebook page or the official Talent Talk website at talenttalkmedia.ca. And one last thing for Nicole. Although we've shared her Instagram and Twitter stuff earlier, we can also share her website. She's got a lot of good info on there, bio, film stuff, photos. I was checking it out, of course, over the week. So check it out, see what she's all about, and keep an eye out for this talented young lady.
Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, thank you. Everybody have a great weekend, and we'll be chatting soon. Nicole, if you can just hang on for a few minutes after we log off here.